Yo, what is going on, guys? I have got an absolutely wild episode for you here today of a husband using a brilliant strategy to catch his wife cheating. Now, I have heard lots of different stories like this, guys, where men use creative ways to find out their wives are cheating. But, you know, this one, it has a bit of a twist to it, where the woman absolutely loses her mind over it. So let's jump right into the video. As always, guys, do not forget to leave your thoughts and your comments, and let's take a listen and break it down.
I told him everything. His reaction was immediate. He looked mortified. He didn't even say anything. Just packed his stuff and left. I begged him to stay. I was crying, apologizing, trying to explain, but he wouldn't listen.
Right.
He said he needed to cool down and walked out. Now he's planning to divorce me, and he said there's nothing I can say or do to make him change his mind. If I knew he was lying, I wouldn't have cheated in the first place.
Her husband used a strategy to get the truth in case she ever decided to cheat, but she misunderstood it and thought he gave her a free pass. Now the marriage is gone.
Listen to this story. I'll give my thoughts in a part 2.
I don't know how else to say this, but my husband is manipulating and emotionally abusing me.
So let me just stop you right there, guys. Every single time I hear a story and the woman comes on, you know, camera, whether it be like some sort of TikTok or reel or whatever, and she tries to claim that her husband or her boyfriend, oh, he manipulated her and he was emotionally abusive. I'm sorry. I don't believe you. I really don't. These words are such nonsense buzzwords that women like to use to deflect accountability for their own actions. So this woman cheated on this guy. And of course, what do? What is the first strategy that these modern women employ when they do something wrong? It is to frame themselves as the victim, as though something has been done against them. Let's continue.
To say this, but my husband is manipulating and emotionally abusing me.
Oh man. Tell me about it. Whatever you're comfortable talking about. Yeah, I don't want you to. Just talk. Tell me as much as you feel comfortable telling me.
Okay, so let me just start from the beginning. When my husband and I first started dating, we had this deep conversation about cheating. He told me, clear as day, if this ever happens, I need to know straight away. If you tell me and it only happens once, I think I could forgive you. And honestly, that stuck with me. It made me feel like, okay, if I ever screwed up, at least being honest would matter to him more. Fast forward 5 years and...
Okay, so let's stop it right there. What did the guy do? This is a new strategy that I've seen. You know, I've seen dudes like hire private investigators and things like this in order to catch their girlfriends or their wives cheating, but this is a new one. So this guy said, hey, listen, if you ever make a mistake, just be honest with me and, you know, it'll go better, right? Like, I could forgive you once, I suppose. And so in this woman's head, what is she thinking? She's like, well, oh, I can go out there and I can afford to get busted cheating on this guy once and everything's going to be totally fine. You know, I just have to be honest and the man will get over it. And this, I mean, to me, guys, this is like, dudes are not okay with this. Let me just say that right off the bat. Unless it's like some sort of, you know, absolute cuck of a man, men are not going to be okay with this behavior. But of course, what does she treat it as? Well, I have a free pass and I can I have one chance to screw it up and go hook up with another guy. So what will most modern women do in this situation, by the way? What will they do? They will go out there, they will cheat on you until such time as they are caught once. And then they'll try and slip in the honesty like, oh, I was about to tell you. And then they try and hope that you'll hold together the relationship like you've said you would. You see what I'm saying? But absolutely disgusting, man. Absolutely. I do not like women like this. Also, the dudes, I can't tell if they're trolling here and they actually empathize with this woman, or if they're just trying to get content for their podcast thing here. I'm hoping they don't actually empathize and they're just trying to get her to tell on herself. I hope that's what's happening. But let's keep going here.
Honestly, that stuck with me. It made me feel like, okay, if I ever screwed up, at least being honest would matter to him more. Fast forward 5 years and we're married now. A couple weeks ago, there was this company party, and I don't even know how to say this, but I made a huge mistake. I slept with a coworker. I know, it's awful. It was a moment of weakness, and I've hated myself every second since it happened. That conversation we had all those years ago, it kept playing in my head. I thought if I just told him, at least I'd have a chance to fix things, you know? So a couple of nights ago, I brought it up. I asked him if he remembered those conversations we had about cheating. At first, he was like, which one?
Starting by asking him if he remembers the conversation they had about cheating 5 years ago is not a good intro. He already knew what was about to come.
Because we had a lot of talks like that early on, so I reminded him about how he said he would forgive me if it only happened once, if I was honest. And then I told him everything. His reaction was immediate. He looked mortified. He didn't even say anything. Just.
And there it is. Okay, the dude's like, yes, you've activated my trap card. Not much of a trap, by the way, if you're a good person. But of course, she just, guys, it was a moment of weakness. She just accidentally fell in this dude's bed, and one thing led to another. And let me just say this, okay? I think that women who do this kind of crap, I don't think these women cheat once. Let me just say this. If you have ever caught your girlfriend or your wife or whatever cheating on you guys, this is not a once-off behavior. This is who these people are, okay? This is why I don't believe in forgiving cheaters or moving on or trying to make things work. Once somebody does this, they have done irreparable damage to the relationship or to the marriage, right? It is absolutely ridiculous. Now, this guy, as soon as this woman said this sentence, as soon as this sentence came out of this woman's mouth, he was thinking, damn it, we've got to get a divorce now, because this was what he was going to do from day one. It wasn't about forgiveness. This guy's not an idiot, He left this honey trap open, as it were, this trap card, and he was prepared for it. Unfortunately, he had that bad day. The day came, the wife cheated on him, and he's like, well, I told myself I would all these years ago, so I'm instantly getting her out of here. And notice how the guy immediately emotionally shuts off, by the way. And he has to, really. He has to protect himself from this nonsense immediately, Go into, okay, enact my plan, let's get out of here. I'll be vulnerable in my own time,
He looked mortified. He didn't even say anything. Just packed his stuff and left. I begged him to stay. I was crying, apologizing, trying to explain, but he wouldn't listen.
Right.
He said he needed to cool down and walked out.
His reaction is understandable. That would have shocked anyone.
The next day, we finally talked, and I tried to remind him of that conversation, thinking maybe it would help him maybe understand why I confessed. And do you know what he did? He laughed. He was just there on the other end of the phone laughing. Then he told me that he never meant any of it.
Ooh, what an evil, terrible man. So manipulative, I just love how she opens this conversation, by the way, by saying that he's manipulating and emotionally abusive. That is perhaps the funniest part of this entire conversation. The man manipulated me into another dude's bedroom, guys. Absolutely so incredibly stupid, okay? But again, what's the framing that's happening here? Okay, well, the man was dishonest and he caught me cheating, so to speak. Let me just say this, guys. I'm not one of these people who gives a damn really about the methodology of how the cheater is caught. The fact of the matter is you were cheating, and it came out, and so your relationship and your marriage deserves to end. I don't care if the dude hired a private investigator. I don't care if he, did whatever to find it out. The fact of the matter is it happened. Get the hell out. I don't want to hear this victimhood crap, guys. I really don't. But it's the first thing that a lot of these modern women do. Straight to, I'm a victim, and this was a perpetration that was done against me. Yes, I ended up in another dude's bed, but look how immoral it was. Look how he tricked me into. Nobody forced this woman to do this, by the way. Nobody forced this. And this is why the dude's laughing. He's like, wow, this woman is so stupid. He's like, man, that's absolutely you can see where this guy's head is at, right? When he's laughing, when she said, yeah, but the conversation, you said it would be fine if I just slept with another dude.
Then he told me that he never meant any of it. That he only said he'd forgive me back then to make sure I'd confess if I ever cheated. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I know what I did was wrong. I'm not denying that for a second, but to hear him say he lied to me, that all this time he never actually meant to forgive me, it felt like, I don't know, like I...
What, like a betrayal of some kind? Like some sort of injustice? Like some sort of... something that was done against you that harmed the trust between you in your relationship? Oh, you don't say. That's really funny. That's really funny that you bring that up because, you were the one who cheated on him. But of course, always the victimhood mentality, always trying to convince other people that you are the one who is the victim here. Oh, what I did was bad, but yeah, he was dishonest and he tricked me into another man's bedroom. And I swear to you guys, this is how a lot of modern women think, right? If you've ever caught your girlfriend or your wife cheating on you or whatever, one of the first things that they will do is obviously just start crying. Like, they will pretend like you are the one who's done something wrong. I have seen this in so many videos over and over and over again. And you might say, Taylor, some of these videos are fake. And you know what? You're probably right. But I guarantee you not all of them are fake. And I'll tell you this is a very common manipulation strategy that women do. Straight to the victimhood, straight to the tears, straight to trying to convince everybody that she was just, innocent and big bad man convinced her to do something negative. Ridiculous.
Been set up. Now he's planning to divorce me, and he said there's nothing I can say or do to make him change his mind. And
good.
I get it. I broke his trust, but at the same time, it feels like he broke mine too.
That's nice. He's still divorcing your ass. I mean, what's so? She's like, yeah, but my trust was broken. Ain't nobody give a damn about your trust. Like, no, nobody cares. Nobody cares. World's smallest violin should start playing at this given moment, guys. Guys, I'm telling you, the way these modern women think is like, as soon as they have a shred of, oh, well, maybe I can convince people that I'm the good guy, or at the very least, something bad happened to me, they take that and then they just run with it. They'll message your family, they'll message your friends. I mean, this woman's jumped on some sort of damn podcast in order to make herself appear as a victim. And again, this is why I don't believe these people. They jump on TikTok, they jump on these reels, and they just, it's all reputation management. Like, have you guys ever caught your girlfriend or your wife cheating on you, and then you've had like family or friends or something turn on you because the wife or the girlfriend has gone and tried to convince these people that you're evil, even though she's the one that cheated or she's the one that did something awful to you? It happens so incredibly often, man. It's reputation management. It's damage control, really. Let's keep going here.
Broke his trust, but at the same time, it feels like he broke mine too. I believed we had this understanding, and maybe if I knew he was lying, I wouldn't have cheated in the first place.
He is actually genius. Good play. If I knew he was lying, I wouldn't have cheated. Wow.
And that's exactly what you need to hear, right? Because she heard this what she did was she heard this sentence and she's like, oh, this is a green light for me to cheat at some point. You know, when that guy comes along, when that handsome dude comes along at work, this man has given me the green flag to go and cheat on him. It doesn't matter if I'm married to him for multiple years. Doesn't mean if we have a long-lasting relationship. Hell, I would argue, guys, it probably doesn't even matter if these people had kids, to be honest. I still think she would do it, even if they had kids. I'm going to assume they didn't have kids because she didn't mention it. But maybe they do. Maybe the situation's even worse. Maybe they're married and maybe they have kids, you know? But yeah, so she essentially just tells on herself here. The way she treated this conversation was, you know, a means for her to be able to do this. She thought to herself, okay, as soon as this guy said this, then what that means is I can cheat on him and get a pass. Now, I will say this as well. I would not be surprised if the only reason she confessed to the dude was because she thought he might have an idea about it. You see what I'm saying, guys? I think that women like this probably have cheated many times over, but the only reason they confess this time as well is because they have an inclination that you might actually know. You see what I'm saying? And so she fell for it, man.
She absolutely used that conversation as a pass.
Yep.
She held onto it like it was a getaway free card, having to start with that convo and continually use it. I'm confused. Why is she mad?
You know it's bad, guys, when even the women on TikTok are not taking your side, by the way. You know, you have to do some really bad reputation management. You have to screw up pretty damn bad for the women on TikTok to actually turn against you.
The amount of audacity that resides in some people is astounding. So she used the conversation they had about cheating as a backup to support her decision, and she expected him to keep his word. She didn't know he just used that strategy to get the truth in case she decided to do it. His plan to deal with this situation was not the best, but we have to agree that it worked for him.
I don't see. This is the thing, guys. I don't even care. Like, oh, so what? He lied to you. I personally don't give a damn, man. I don't really care as long as nobody is like physically harmed or whatever. I don't really care how cheaters are caught. It doesn't bother me too much, really. I don't particularly care. I think what this guy did was smart. I think a lot of guys, you know what's going to happen? They're probably going to see this video and they're going to think to themselves, maybe I should have the exact same conversation with my wife or my girlfriend, you know, just to make it easier on myself, I suppose. I want you guys to notice as well what this dude did. As soon as this woman came to him by bringing up this conversation that they had 5 or whatever years ago, exactly however many it was, as soon as she brought up these words, the guy emotionally protected himself. He just completely shut off. You know, he turned all his emotions off and he's like, right, I need to get out of here. I need to go do what I need to do, lose my marbles a bit outside. And then in the following couple of days, what's going to happen is I'm going to serve her dumbass with the divorce papers. And then we're going to go from there. And you know what? I don't hold this against the guy. I think it was a good play. I really do. You know, it's sad to see that it has to come to these sorts of things, but I'll keep it 100, guys. A lot of these modern women are not trustworthy. They're completely not. I mean, this woman's cheating at like a work function. Like, get the hell out of here, man. A work function. Like, are we serious?
It turned out to be a king's move.
I don't know how else to say this, but my husband is manipulating and emotionally abusing me.
Ridiculous.
I am still confused. How did she reach to that conclusion? She was the one.
So the reason she reached this conclusion is because it was convenient, right? So because it painted her as a victim, she would do whatever mental gymnastics were necessary to get there. That's what I'm saying, guys. People, right? What happens, particularly with these modern women, is like if they benefit from adopting a particular position, then what's going to happen is they will just completely and utterly rationalize it. You know, it doesn't matter so much the logic of how it gets there, as long as it's good enough for her. You know, like the logic doesn't have to be coherent whatsoever. They justify it to themselves. This is the exact same kind of crap, by the way, that women do when attractive men approach them, right? Is they justify away the flaws of the attractive guy. You know, if the attractive guy is an awful man, but he has multiple felonies, then, you know, he just had a rough childhood. You know, he needs some compassion. But if a guy who's not attractive comes up to her and he has felonies, oh, it's time to call the cops ASAP if he opens his mouth and talks to her. You see how the rationalization works, guys? It's like whatever the beneficial position is, then we can logically justify it to ourselves, especially if it's one that makes us look like a victim in a situation where we did something wrong, i.e. to avoid accountability. Let's keep going.
Who decided to jump into that adventure, and now he is not acting right. She is using that strategy to cover her actions, but this is not how things work. That was a good attempt to change the main focus of this story, but in the end, it was in vain. After listening to the introduction of that conversation, anyone would rapidly jump to her side. That strategy can work, and many have already used it to get sympathy, but her case is different.
Yeah, this is what concerns me, by the way, about society, guys, is like women will pull this card, and then unfortunately, a lot of the times, unless the situation is so incredibly stupid like this, where she actually just flat out agreed to the admitted to the cheating and stuff, a lot of people will just immediately take the woman's side. This is why it's so rough as a dude to go through things like breakups and divorces, is because your reputation will be sabotaged and people will just immediately believe the woman. Like the default, guys, is to assume that the man is the perpetrator and he's the bad guy. This happens in all sorts of situations, whether it be the end of a relationship, there's some sort of DV call, police are called to a particular situation, especially if you're a big guy, right? If you're a dude and you're like over 6 foot, you've got some meat on your bones, maybe some muscles and things like this. I mean, you are going to be perceived as a threat in all likelihood, even if you're not, even if you're, a guy who's like an average height. People are going to rock up to these situations, and the first thing they're going to do is like assume that you're the bad guy, unfortunately. This is why it's really important as a man to keep a cool head and not do things that you might regret, But it's ridiculous. People jump to immediately defending the woman and believing her. Now, fortunately, in this case, her situation was stupid enough that everybody roasted her, but a lot of the times it isn't like this.
Anyone who had the time to listen to the full call would understand that he didn't do the things she mentioned.
I get it. I broke his trust. But at the same time, it feels like he broke mine too. I believed we had this understanding,
It was interesting that somehow she still found a gap to place herself as a victim. That was impressive. And if you carefully listen to how she started the conversation, you will assume that he actually did something wrong. This is the reason we should always get the full picture of any case before coming to its conclusion.
I mean, this is why, by the way, this is why I don't believe women as soon as, unless you have evidence, I'm sorry, I don't believe you. Because this is typically the framing of these particular situations. Unless you have evidence, and I'm sorry, guys, but, court cases and things like this that are proven, for example, civil court cases, I don't even believe this crap. And the reason why is because all they have to do is prove it beyond, on the balance of probabilities. So yeah, more likely than not, I'm sorry, that's not good enough for me, guys, especially with very serious allegations and things like this. I don't like that level of proof. I want some pretty damn solid proof. If I'm going to believe your nonsense and that you're like a victim and you're out here, for example, accusing a guy, you need some really solid things for me to believe you, because too many modern women lie about this stuff. And before we continue, I'll say this as well. If you're a woman and you come out here and you start reputation damaging a dude, or you accuse him of something, I think you should face the exact same consequences as whatever the dude would face if you're accusing him, right? So if you're accusing him and he's likely to, if he loses the case, spend time in jail, I think if it's proven to the same standard that you were being dishonest or you were lying about the situation, I think the woman should go to jail 100%. We'd have a very, very reduced amount of false accusers then, I think, to be honest. But let's keep going.
If I knew he was lying, I wouldn't have cheated in the first place.
That was an interesting statement. So she did it because she was certain that he wouldn't leave her in case it happened. Basically, she felt like she had a free pass, therefore it wouldn't be an issue if she decided to jump into that adventure, but that wasn't the plan. Cheating just because you think your partner will give you a pass is wild.
The guy in the white finds his wife on a date after saying she was going out with the girls.
Did you notice the other guy asking whether he can leave? To be honest, both of them should have been gone a long ago. I would have paid, apologized to the husband, and left.
So let me just pause it here, by the way, guys. I know like a lot of guys who get cheated on, they have their wife screw them over and things like this. We want some sort of explanation or justification and things like this, some sort of closure. But the truth of the matter is these people can't give it to you because they don't care, right? That's why they did these things in the first place, you know? They don't have anything that makes it logically okay for them to do what they are doing. So like, you know, I think talking to these people, trying to talk this out, trying to have these discussions is a waste of time. Now, I understand why dudes do this. You know, they're in a lot of pain. They're going through this particular issue. And they want some closure from the person that they thought that they could trust and care about. But again, it's just a waste of time talking to these people. The best course of action, you know, is to just immediately throw the woman out. Get her out of the house, serve her divorce papers, you know, do what the first guy did, basically. Leave the situation immediately, you know, keep your emotions in check, and then call the next day and serve her ass with the divorce papers. Or better yet, get your lawyer to do it or something, you know. But the sooner you can remove yourself from the situation, the better it's going to be for you.
Why is he addressing the guy instead of her? He handled himself well under the circumstances. He really cared for her. She doesn't look bothered. Why is other dude staying there? She doesn't care, bro. Just leave. This is so confusing. If she no longer wants to be with her current partner, she should have told him. That would be the best thing to do, as it would prevent future drama, just like what's happening in that restaurant.
Yeah, so the reason why women don't do this, by the way, they don't, you know, just own up to it or say that, hey, I want out of this relationship or marriage, is because they still benefit by being in the marriage, okay? Oftentimes, you know, us really oppressive men, us awful patriarchal men, oftentimes the dudes are out here providing for these women. You know, they don't have to pay rent. Their lives are a lot easier with the man because he typically financially provides for her. And so she wants to have the best of both worlds, okay? She wants to be provided for by this one guy, but at the same time, she wants to go out and screw a different guy. You see what I'm saying? That's the reason why women don't do this. They don't just say, well, I want to leave the relationship, is because they want to continue having the benefits of being in said relationship.
Imagine receiving the news that your partner is having dinner with another person when she told you she was going on a girls' night. That wouldn't be a good feeling, and this is something that could have been avoided if she had been honest from the start. At least it would have given him the opportunity to decide whether he still wanted to be part of that relationship. This type of situation will always affect their union on a deeper level. Even if they decide to work things out, his trust level won't be the same. He will have many thoughts the next time she tells him that she is going out with friends, and this is what she didn't consider when decided to be dishonest about her whereabouts. If she were trying to juggle both of them, this event would change the dynamic of everything. This scene will eventually make them question whether she is someone they will be able to trust, so it will somehow affect their perception of her. Also, it seems like she wasn't bothered that he found her having dinner with another person. Maybe she no longer cares, and if
Yeah, see, I think it's a mixture of two things. When women put on this face here, number one, it's because they don't respect you and they don't care. So that's also why they're being, you know, they're acting unfazed. But the other reason is that they want you, right? Check this out from an optical standpoint, okay? From an onlooker who's looking at this particular situation, what the woman wants to do is she wants to make it look like you're the one who's acting crazy. You know, you've got three people at a dinner table. One guy, the victim, is incredibly upset. He's, you know, maybe he's angry and things like this. And so what the woman wants to do is she wants to hold her composure so that it looks like from the outside perspective that you're the crazy one, you're mad for no reason, you have no right to be there, and you're losing your marbles over nothing. You see, guys, it's all about the optics of the situation. It's about saving face, and it's about coming out on the other side as though you were somehow the good person who was wronged.
that is the case, this is the sign he needed to move on, as it doesn't make sense to try to work things out where the other person is already interested on someone else.
Most women, it's not sex that we're looking for when we cheat. It's an emotional connection. It's always like something like emotionally like that you're not receiving from a man. It's just the 80-20. He might be doing 80% of everything you need him to do. That 20%, it can be sex, whatever the case may be. But even if it's sex, you're not looking really necessarily just for somebody to have sex with. You're looking for someone to build an emotional connection with so that you can have good sex with them and then go from there.
Holy hell, what in the absolute nonsense am I hearing right here? You're hooking up with the guy because you're attracted to him and you want to hook up with the guy. Oh, we don't care about the intimacy. You know, we're trying to build an emotional connection. Shut the hell up, guys. You know, I'm so sick of hearing this emotional connection crap from women. But for some reason, you know, they just always have the emotional connection with the guys who are above average. Isn't that weird, guys? Or they always seem to have the emotional connections with the guys who have big wallets. You know, I'm so sick of hearing this. Oh yeah, I had this emotional connection to this man. This man, by the way, in this woman's words here, doing 80% of everything. But you know what, guys? It's not quite enough. So she's going to go get that 20% from somewhere else. Absolutely stupid. But guys, we are going to be leaving today's episode there. As always, don't forget to leave your thoughts and your comments. Has something ever similar happened to you guys? I'd be interested to know down in the comments. Also, how did you handle it? You know, were you someone who said, listen, get the hell out of my house, don't come back, and put all of her things on the street? Or how exactly did it go for you? I'd be interested to know down below if you are interested in sharing, of course. But we'll be leaving it there, guys. Don't forget to take care of yourselves, and I'll be seeing you all in the next episode. Peace.